Get that going. Okay.
Are we going like a lot? Are we going live on video?
Yes, sir.
Shit,
so we're on your
pants
YouTube
on.
channel right now.
What's that?
We're on your YouTube channel right now.
Yeah,
Then
YouTube, on the G.I. Joe YouTube channel and my Head Speaks.
oh my goodness.
Did you get any comments on the issue at all?
No, I did not.
You should have put that up yesterday.
Yeah, I should have. Well, I did kind of comment up yesterday. We were recording one yesterday and then again today. Yeah, I did put one up yesterday. So I didn't think to ask for comments. I just put it up that we were recording. So
Now get comments. Get comments.
I'm slowly learning.
I brought comments.
This whole internet thing I'm working on.
The ones and the zeros.
The whole social media aspect of it. I can get online and get emails and stuff, but the whole social media and promoting myself is where I'm lacking.
Wait, what social media again?
BradAbraham.com. Oh,
hold on. Let me grab some water.
All right.
There's one in every podcast group.
Usually it's Jared.
Oh.
Oh.
Yikes.
It's gonna be that kind of show.
It's working over here. Don't mind me.
Never do. Much like a kid. Much
Just
like
working.
a kid. Mind you.
That's all I do. I'm working for other podcasts while I'm on a podcast. That's levels, man.
That's devotion.
That's levels.
While you're thinking about other podcasts.
I'm a dude who's playing a dude. This guy's is another dude.
Meanwhile, we don't know, but you got earphones in your ear listening to yet another podcast.
A buddy of mine finally picked up my classified white whale, the beachhead, for me.
Very nice. Very nice.
Could not find that one. I wasn't going to spend extra for it. I want to find it in the wild if I can.
Yep. I snagged some more of those funky, well, let's use the right word, terrible G.I. Joe Lego sets this last week. The ones, like, the box art is gorgeous, but the sets themselves are just awful.
Yeah, I picked up 3 of them at a 99-cent store or whatever.
Yeah, they got like TJ Maxx and Perks. Like, all your outlets is the place to find them. I scored some at Ollie's this week.
I've heard of them Mythical Ollies, but never been there.
I can tell you that Brad purchased a book page sketch by Jared today. I think Kevin has Duke, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And you'll never guess which one Brad ordered today. Go against all your instincts and make a guess.
Sartan?
You got it.
You are correct. You are correct, my friend. I did think of Sartan.
Too easy.
Technically, they're all Zartan. That's a deep
true.
joke for everybody.
They,
right there.
they could be.
Master of disguise.
Yes, I'm with it. I'm with it. Okay, gentlemen and Jared, are we ready to get going?
Oh, I forgot we were doing something. My bad.
Let's do it.
Okay, so welcome to episode. That's right, I was right. I doubted myself. Try that again. Well, welcome to episode 38 of G.I. Joe, a Real American Headcast. As usual, I am your host, Aaron Moss, aka Head. And joining me, I have most of my usual regular band of misfits. We have Mr. Jared Albrecht, aka the Yard Sale Drawer Guy, aka Death Probe. He's got a lot of AKAs.
I got a lot. It's just, for people looking for me on the internet, it's the Yard Sale Artist. But, Aaron's never got it right, so I start today. Hey, thanks for having me back. I'm looking forward to talking some G.I. Joe number 38. Before we start, a quick question. Aaron, last time I saw you, did you have on an eye patch or no? Okay, all right. We'll talk about some more later.
Well, we'll get into that. Also joining us is Mr. Brad Abraham, the Crimson Twins hater himself.
Yes,
Brad.
I've moved up. I've moved up from Zartan to the Crimson Twins, who appear in this issue, and I will have things to say about that later. But as always, thanks for having me on.
Of course, since you're no longer a Zartan hater, as our earlier discussion proves, and then finally, ooh, very nice. Again, that very nice was to our third guest, Mr. Kevin Reitzel.
What's going on, guys? Good to be back.
Let me finish my introduction, aka the Raider Nerd. Mr. Proud and out there Raider Nerd today.
Yeah, buddy. Woo!
Smiling, jiggling his little Raider hat, just doing a little happy dance, which tells us that the Raiders must have won.
Yes, and I'm celebrating by flying my trouble bubble with the Baroness inside of it, which is a little sneak peek into a discussion later.
Two things I love, the Baroness and the trouble bubble. But yes, anyways, today we are here to discuss G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, issue number 38. The cover date on this was August of 1985. The on sale date, May the 7th of 1985. The cover price was 75 cents. That's right, 3 little quarters. The title of this was called Judgments. The writer was, of course, Larry Hama. The penciler, Rod Wiggum. Inker, Andy Muschieski. Letterer, Rich L. Parker. And the colorist was George Roussos. And this was reprinted in G.I. Joe Volume 4 trade paperback. And that's the only thing listed on Mike's incredible.
Hold on, Jared. Who was the cover artist again? I'm sorry.
Oh, we're skipping that part.
But I.
No, I'm getting there. Editor was
there.
Dennis O'Neill, and the cover credits. I don't want to read these.
Well, let me help you out. Beatty, Zack, Beatty, Zack, Beatty, Zack, Beatty, Zack, Mike, Zack.
Yes, the pencil was Mike Zack, and inker was John Beatty. I can't even speak. You don't know either of them, do you?
No, I just big fan of their work.
However, Mike Zack has put out a restraining order on Jared.
Well, it's just paperwork. Really.
John hasn't yet. I'm surprised.
Oh, John and I are actually going to be appearing at a convention together in a couple of weeks in Birmingham.
Is it his choice, or is he being forced to go?
I don't know why he called me and invited me to go, but he did. So
must be some good drugs.
But backing it up, it's weird that they only said that this was available in single issue on Mike's Amazing World.
What was the G.I. Joe trade paperback?
Oh, okay. It's in the IDW Complete Collection Volume 4. Just so people know it. That's where I read it.
Yes, and that's where I figured I was going to go there next. But
my bad. I thought it's been so long. We're all screwing up the format of the show.
I apologize for the delay in getting back with you guys.
Beatty, Zack, Beatty, Zack.
That's back in full form.
I'm gonna go on mute for a while and just let this work itself out.
Oh, it's going to end up badly anyway. So, anyways, we're here to talk G.I. Joe. Finally, it's been a bit of a hiatus. I apologize once again, but let's go ahead and talk some G.I. Joe. First, I'll give you a quick synopsis. While in Cobra HQ, Billy's Inquisition is underway, where we get some flashbacks to the origin of Cobra. Meanwhile, Stalker, Roadblock, Ripcord, and Gung Ho go on a mission to rescue, once again, Dr. Adele Burkhart. In Sierra Gordo, they meet up with Kondo and his native friends. Finally back near Fort Wadsworth, the Joes go on a mission to rout out a neighborhood Cobra cell. As the CG escapes with the help of the twins, Brad's favorites, we find out that the house the Joes are raiding belongs to Candy, a.k.a. Bongo Bear, and her father. Dun, dun, dun. So, as usual, before we get to the actual issue, we talk about the cover. In case you guys have forgotten, since it's been so long. The cover of this one, it's a rather simple cover, but we'll talk about it. It's a yellow background, and we get Destro and Storm Shadow squaring off. Destro is holding a gun on Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow has his knife gleaming in whatever sunlight he's in or lighting he's in. It's rather simple. There's a light gleaming off of Destro's chrome dome. I have the same problem myself, but that's another story entirely. That's why I got to watch where I sit so I don't blind these guys. Anyways, let's get some thoughts on this cover. Let's go ahead and start with the name dropper himself. Jared, do you have thoughts?
Of course, I have thoughts. This is a
Okay, enough of that.
beautifully.
Now let's move. Oh, sorry.
Time's up. Dang it! I didn't get all in. That was a beautifully simplistic cover, like you said. It's a plain background. You can tell that Zek cranked it out probably pretty quickly, but even a rush job Zek is still awesome and gorgeous, and I find it quite memorable. As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember this," you know. And what I really like about it, something you already mentioned, was the use of light. We've got the glimmering on the sword, the glimmering on Destro's mask, and the glimmering on the sight from the pistol. So it's even though it's simple, it's very eye-catching, very memorable, and I mean, it's got two of the greatest Joe villains of all time on the cover, squaring off. So simple, yes, but memorable and good, also yes. And I'll leave it there for someone else.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Mr. Abraham. Brad,
who is the artist again? I'm trying to remember.
It was Zek and Beatty and Zek and Beatty and Zek.
It's a great. I think it's a great cover. And the funny thing is when I was reviewing this issue just now for the podcast, on the one hand, I was like, well, it's kind of a simple cover. It's kind of basic. There's not a lot going on, and I was trying to figure out, if they put more of a background on it, if it would have looked better. And I don't think it would have looked better. And the more I look at it, the more I see its strengths. It forces your eyes to focus on the two characters, Destro and Storm Shadow, who are facing off, which, to be quite fair, was a very big deal on release, because this issue and this cover sort of marks a change in the narrative of G.I. Joe in the comics. So I think just any more stuff you were to put onto the cover just would have taken away from the confrontation. And there have been confrontation covers preceding this and ones that follow, but this one really kind of stands out, especially if you were to see it on a spinner rack or on the shelf of a comic book store. It would kind of draw you in because it's so simple. So I don't think depicting this any other way would work quite as well.
Very good. And finally, Kevin, Mr. Raider Nerd, what you think?
I'm sorry, my audio went out when you guys were talking about who the cover artist was again. Who was the cover artist again?
Mike Zek, Mike Zek with Betty Zek,
I thought so. I wasn't sure.
The real charm of that, ladies and gentlemen, was the dance that Kevin was doing. If you're listening to this podcast solely, you missed out.
And see, that's why you should join us on live recordings.
So my question is, why hasn't Mike Zek and Beatty gone to more G.I. Joe conventions? I need to meet these guys because we seem to be talking about these guys all the time. And when you're thumbing through like a comic book store or a convention and you're looking for just to see what G.I. Joes they have, and you're kind of going through and you can kind of see the top color of the comic. This is one of those that always pops out because of that bright yellow at the top. And I always know which one it is. And I love the covers that don't have too much going on behind them. That you just have one really cool background color. There's no reason why in this scene that we do see later in the issue, why it should be yellow. But because it's yellow, it makes everything else in front of it pop. And I'm sure you can understand that, Jared. This is one of my favorite covers of all time because of that. And it tells you of a particular scene that is happening later in the issue. And this is one of my favorites. I love it, and I love seeing it. And if it's cheap, I always end up getting it.
Very nice. I agree with the three of you, which is scary in itself. But no, I do like I said earlier, is a simple cover, but I didn't want to overstate things. But yes, like you guys, this is a fantastic cover because it's so simple. Like you guys have all covered. Yeah, if they would have, they could have done something different for background. But like Brad said, and I'm sure you guys have said, it would have changed the cover and it might not have been quite as nice. That bright yellow, like Kevin said, when you go to the comic store looking in back issues, that bright yellow jumps out at you when you're flipping through. Any other background images would have detracted from what we have here. It's a beautiful, beautiful cover. And again, it's done by the masters. I'm trying to read the names on here. Z and B.
That stands for Zek and Beatty. Beatty, Zek, Beatty, Zek, Zek, Beatty, Zek. The dancing busted my groove, but I love your dancing.
So yeah, if somebody on this group knew John Beatty, maybe they could find out why he does it, or if he does go to Joe conventions, so Kevin could meet him. And
Well, I just did Joe Fest myself this last year, and maybe when I'm chatting with Beatty at our next show, I can nudge him in that direction.
Please.
I feel like he and Mike would probably do really well at Joe Fest.
oh yeah, they're
But
fantastic.
feel free to edit this out too, though. But a lot of times, like a Joe Fest, it's very toy centric and not so much art centric. Like I did pretty well there, even as a sort of a garbage tier artist that I am. I did pretty well, but it's seriously big on toys. So I would understand if that's why some artists maybe don't do them, because they say, oh, it's just toys. But speaking from experience, people bought plenty of art too. So we'll see.
And as our talks on here reveal, I mean, a lot of people, I think there's a big crossover between the toys and the comics and the TV show. I think if someone joined just because of the toys, for instance, I'm sure they read some of the comics or watched the TV, especially the TV show, since it was basically free in quotes, whereas the comic they would have to pay for it or borrow friends, but especially back when it came out. But yeah, the TV show is free, and I'm sure there's a lot of bleed over from one to the other. So, but yeah, it's a very interesting comment. So, who was that again? No, let's not do that.
Never mind. I will say that at Joe Fest last year, is it Ron? I think he pronounces it Rudat.
I think
his last
so.
name?
Rudat, yes.
Yeah,
Ron Rudat.
He was definitely the center of attention, with all of his. He designed a lot of the characters from the early runs, so he was a very cool guy to meet.
Oh yeah, very nice. Yeah, I would love to meet him. That's very good. So let's go ahead and get some numbers for this cover. Out of 1 to 5 Yojo colas, and again on this show we do accept halfies. Jared, how many Yojo colas, or in this case, I'm trying to think of the Cobra equivalent. I know it'd be grape sodas for Dreadnought.
I don't know what they drink.
How many Viper Stings, I guess, you give this cover?
As I try to decide whether I want to give, it's going to be somewhere between 4 and a 5, and I'm just going to watch what Kevin tells me to do. Whatever he says is going to go with the 5. I'm going with the 5. Yeah, I'm going with the 5. It is so dang memorable, and we have talked about, I know we've talked about a long box, and I think we've talked about it here too. Like a 5 would mean like I'd want a poster of this hanging on my wall, and 100% yes. So 5.
Oh, yeah, very good. And Brad, how many colas would you give this one? Yojo colas, we'll speak about for now.
I would give it 4 colas, but I would probably keep half the cola one of the colas in the fridge for later. So 3.5, 4. I could score it higher, but the problem with that is the next issue would have to have a very high cover score for me as well. So I don't want to tip the balance too far in one direction over the other.
Very good. I appreciate that. And Kevin, you don't like this one, do you?
5. I think there's probably about 10 issues throughout this full Marvel run for me that get 5, and this is one of them.
I can see that. And I was leaning towards a 4.5 because kind of like what Brad said, because there are some great covers coming up, and that's why I mentioned the whole halfy things at the beginning. But I've been fighting with myself. But I definitely I got Kev. If you're not watching this live stream, I've got Kevin sitting there trying to influence me, and it doesn't take much influencing. As I said, I was going to originally give it a 4.5, but yes, I agree with the other two gentlemen. I do give it a 5.
Suck it, Brad.
This is amazing. Even though it's simple, it's an amazing cover. And as usual, Brad is wrong. So let's.
That's why I'm here.
We have to have someone that's wrong here. It's either Jared or Brad. So.
Y'all leave Brad alone, because I know how it feels to be Brad.
Yeah, I'm slowly working
the world against you. No, and if anything, that's what makes this the most authentic G.I. Joe related podcast, is that there's always someone who's going to be on the wrong side of history.
Yes.
If we all agreed, it wouldn't be entertaining.
Yeah, it's not as much fun as we're sitting around here, all stroking the creators' egos and washing their car, as some other podcasts say. But let's go ahead and move on to the actual issue itself. I've already gave the synopsis, so let's go ahead and get some thoughts. I'm going to start in reverse order. And Raider Nerd, Do you have thoughts on this very issue?
This was a good issue, and it still is. It still holds up for me. This gets the whole Billy Storm shadowy thing kind of going on, um, and the whole candy thing too. Interestingly enough, how this kind of was something that kept on happening, and then eventually stuff happens in issue 43, which you will not do without me, no matter what.
So what week are you busy? So I don't want to plan that one. No,
you can't skip me on that one. But this is good because you get, of course, Baroness and Blood wondering if the old mind scanners come back and is going to expose them and such. And I like how Storm Shadow takes interest in Billy on this, and this begins that relationship. Mm-hmm. And it's a really good story. It's well written. I love the panels in this. I love Recondo getting the appearance in here as well. It's just overall, I guess, how do you say a well-paced issue? How does that work? What do you call that? I don't know what you call that.
A well-paced issue?
I guess, yeah.
That's what I call it, a well-paced issue. Well done.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we get Junkyard storming in with the Joes. I wish he was wearing like a tactical vest, something like, you'd see in John Wick, kind of makes me wonder where Timber is. Why isn't Timber getting in on this? But, I guess technically he's not a Joe dog. I don't know. I think he is. I don't know.
Well, I think the thing is, if I'm not mistaken, I think Larry's not a huge fan of the non-military animals.
Right.
Well, we don't see much of Timber. We don't see much of Freedom, Polly. Do you have a comment there, Gerry?
No, he said Freedom. I just need to hear the sound.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
But, why are we saving Adele Burkhart again? That bee? I mean,
because she needs it. And as someone once said, we may not agree with her opinions, but I will give my life to protect her and have those opinions.
I'd just like to leave her with the Tucaros for a while and just leave it at that and walk away.
Plus, if they thought that saving her would change her opinions, they would lose every shred of respect they have for her. I read that somewhere. Where it's at. I read that.
And
somewhere.
we leave the brainwave scanners just still kind of hanging around. I mean, do you have to charge that thing? Do you got to try it out on some Cobra Trooper to make sure it still works? How do we know it's still working the same? I don't know, but it was nice to see it back. Throw back to issue 10, which was nice. So, but yeah, overall good episode, great cover, one of my favorites.
Well, they leave it plugged in all the time, and again, mounting bills at Cobra, but again, they don't care about that. And yeah, I'm sure every once in a while they'll just take some hapless Cobra Trooper, just throw them in there. Let's make sure this is working. Okay, good enough. Brad, thoughts this episode or this issue?
Well, this is going to be the part where I agree with Kevin, and one presumes Jared and you, is this is a really good issue. It's one of those ones that I think, when you're introducing a comic to somebody and you're saying, well, these are the issues that you definitely have to read to kind of fill all the pieces in. And I think this is one of those ones because it really delves into the origins of Cobra. It picks up the storyline that was sort of frozen in limbo from issue 33. So we're about 5 months down the road where we finally get some continuation of that, which felt at the time like a really long wait. I remember month after month saying, okay, are we going to get back to Cobra Commander? Are we going to get back to Cobra Commander? I just kept going and going, and it was very frustrating. And but there's a lot of questions that get answered. There's a lot more that get raised, which is, I think, the hallmark of any good bit of writing. And learning a lot of the background on Cobra as an organization was fun. And of course, Cobra Commander was a disgraced capitalist or a disgraced real estate swindler or whatever. It just kind of makes sense because human history is full of people like Cobra Commander. So I feel like Larry is really showing he's a student of history and a bit of a prophet in this issue. But I'm glad to see that the Joes don't really fall off the map in this one. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening. And I like that it's a focus on actual missions. Twofold. There's Ripcord, who's my favorite Joe, obviously, I've mentioned before. involved in the mix, and seeing Recondo in action for the first time, which is a big deal because he was one of the cooler figures of that particular wave. He didn't get enough action in the book, to my mind. He was kind of like a middle ground Joe. But that's fine because, as Kevin also pointed out, we get the return of the meddlesome activist Dr. Burkhart, which I'm actually kind of glad to have her back, because having these callbacks to earlier issues, in this case, it would have been issue number 1, when we're 38 issues in, it feels like ages ago. At the time, it felt like ages ago when it was really only a few years. But I'm a big fan of any of the non-toy related supporting characters showing up in this comic, whether it's Dr. Burkhart or the October Guard or Billy or whoever. It just kind of broadens the scope of the book, and I think it kind of elevates it beyond just being a comic for selling a toy line, that there's kind of a world surrounding the toys as well, which you don't get in a lot of tie-ins like this. And I even have to say that the closing shootout stuff with Toe Jam and Tomax and Zaymot, sorry, I keep messing that one up. And the Crimson Guard is great. Really great action, really paced well to see all the Joes on the team doing their part, even Junkyard, saving the day with the grenade. And the end reveal with Candy and it being her dad's house is a really great twist of an ending. And I think I'd said before that issues 21 to 33 are my favorite era of Joe comics, but that era continues into this stretch as well. The next dozen or so issues are really, really some of the best that the run ever gave us. But I do have a confession to make, and it's that it took 36 years for me to realize that Candy's last name is Apple. So I'm sorry.
I want to comment on something that Jared just. I'm sorry. Excuse me. That what?
I said Jared point 2.
Yeah, Jared point 2. Yes. Recondo. It's funny because you're right. That was one of the best figures when it came out, and I knew about camouflage, but it was the first time I saw like, oh, you get to camouflage your weapon too. I didn't know that was really a thing. And I thought that was so cool. And I talked to my dad about it. He's like, oh yeah, that's why, that's why in Red Dawn, they put the white stuff around their weapons, and that's what you do. And that's what a lot of people did in Vietnam and stuff like that. And then I remember doing that with those, taking like, was it some type of tape? I think it was, I want to say masking tape. And I would cut it into little strips. And I started doing that to my other Joe weapons if I played with them outside in the grass and stuff like that.
Very nice.
And points for mentioning Red Dawn, because that movie was
yes.
It is. It's one of my favorites.
It's so good.
Wolverines.
Snickety. I'm sorry, wrong Wolverines. Jared, I'm sure you got some thoughts.
I do. I have some thoughts. The name Candy is mentioned several times, and I was able to keep on mute and not go Candy. Ow. So I got that out of my system. But okay, 2 things that stick out to me about this issue. Picadillos, I guess, if you will, because it's a great issue. I would bet pretty much my last dollar that the last 3 pages were inked by someone other than Andy Mashinsky, because the inks get real noticeably different on the last 3 pages. So either something went very interesting on the printing press, or they had another inker finish it up to make it on time, because they get a lot heavier and a lot less Mashinsky-ish there at the end. So when
you say heavier, do you mean darker?
Yeah.
That's
heavier,
good call.
Heavier lines. Like if you compare the last page that I think Mashinsky did, which is where Billy and Storm Shadow run off, to the next page where they're attacking the house, just look at Storm Shadow in the panels.
Yeah,
he's talking to Billy, and he's got real lean inks on him, and then they get real thick, real thick and heavy on the next page. So I honestly think someone else inked the last 3 pages to get the deadline made. That's what I suspect.
And that's
anyway,
an artist on here to help us out with these kind of things.
Yeah. Going back to my opening bit when you introduced me to this, and I asked you, didn't you wear an eye patch last time? Did anybody else notice Major Blood's disappearing eye patch? Only the first panel he shows him. From then on, he has no eye patch. He's eye patchless for the rest of the book. It's like all of a sudden he's healed.
Well, page 2, he's got it.
Yeah, page 1 he doesn't.
Yes.
Page
Yes.
2 he's the only place where he does, and then from then on he has no eye patch.
Yeah.
So it's like apparently he's just doing it as a fashion thing, and it's not, not really.
Why has this taken me like over 40 years to realize that?
I was just reading along, and I'm same as me because I've read this a couple times in my childhood, but this time I was like, wait a minute, where's his eye patch? And the next panel, still no eye patch, no eye patch, no eye patch. Weird.
Is it too late? Is 38 years too late to write into Marvel and try to get a no prize for that? If you can explain why it is, maybe it fell off and he had to stick it back on, or
he's just trying out his new glass eye.
Trying it out. IDW probably too late.
So anyway, that was just interesting to me.
Try. Oh.
The other thing that stood out to me is if you're going to have a tribunal, I don't know how good your tribunal is if you got dreadnoughts on it. That very first panel is really funny because one of them, I think it's Ripper, or is that Torch? I can't. It's Ripper. Right?
It's
Ripper,
yeah, I think it is Ripper.
The table.
Yeah.
Well, he's on brand if it's Ripper.
Yeah.
He's on brand cutting up the table. I like how Firefly is completely disinterested in anything they're talking about. I'm like, what kind of a tribunal is this? If nobody cares what is going on. So that was kind of interesting. And then my other favorite moment, because you guys hit all the other really good ones, but it just kind of made me laugh a little bit, was that last moment with Billy and Storm Shadow, where he's like, Storm Shadow's like, get out of here, Billy, and I'll distract him and all this. And Billy's like, well, what are you planning to accomplish by staying? And Storm Shadow's like, you're right, Billy, let's get out of here. I hadn't thought this one through.
Let's meet feet.
Just okay, sure.
He can outrun a bullet, but he can't outrun logic.
No, he cannot. He cannot. So, I mean, overall, like you guys said, this is a strong issue because it had a lot of good threads, different threads, real cool tie in with Candy at the end. Ow. And then, just it all came together. I'm very interested to see what happens when Stalker and what's her name? Burkhart? Yeah, Adele Burkhart meet again. Is it going to be like, oh, hey, Stalker. Oh, hey, Adele. Good to rescue you again. Thanks, guys.
That time of the year.
Yep. Good to see you again. Anyway, that's all I got, man. Good issue. Lots of plot threads that are still memorable to this day.
All right. I guess it's my turn. So again, a couple of thoughts I had on this. I really loved, as I mentioned when Kevin was talking, I love Stalker's talk about how they're fighting for Burkhart's ability to have an opinion, and that saving her changed their views, he'd lose all respect for her. I just like the way that he said that. Very true. I mean, you may not agree with her opinions, but if you're a believer of freedom and the American way and all that, you're going to fight to the death to let her have those opinions. So I thought that was very nice. I'd make other comments, but I want to upset anybody that may be or may not be listening to this. But I've had similar thoughts about the whole kneeling for during football games and all that. But that's another story entirely. If you want to hear more about me rambling about that, check out my Facebook page. But anyways, I do love the inquest of Billy. Again, it's not so much a tribunal. They've already know he's guilty. It's a matter of who helped him, because just a kid, he couldn't do it himself. So it had to be somebody. And I don't know if the people on the tribunal in quotes are actually there to help make any sort of judgment, or if they're just all the guilty parties that one of these mothers is the one that tried to. So he just got in there to make it easier when he finds out who did it to kill him off. But
I hadn't thought of that until right now. But if it was the case, then Cobra Commander is a lot smarter than we give him credit for. That's very Shakespearean, or very, very Julius Caesar, kind of surround yourself with your enemies and, let the accusations fly and see who exposes themselves first. So maybe it wasn't deliberate.
That's the way I read it, because he already knew Billy was guilty. It was a matter of finding out who.
Yeah.
Well,
I think everybody in the stadium.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah, everybody saw him pull a gun on Cobra Commander, so I mean, we've established some guilt. It's figuring out who else is involved.
And as Kevin said, yes, keep your enemies closer. That's why we always have Jared on the show. But I couldn't resist, man. But no, I do love seeing Cobra's origins as he kind of recounts it. And again, I mean, that's kind of Billy knows a lot more than Not necessarily that he should, but he knows more than Cobra's comfortable with him knowing. And the fact that he's using these scenes to help avert his assistance in the assassination of Cobra Commander. I do like Cobra Commander's like, okay, that's enough. Shut this down. We don't need to see any more. We've seen enough. It's kind of like on Spaceballs where they were
go past this part.
Go past I always love, because again, I like this origin much better than what we get from G.I. Joe the cartoon. I enjoyed the cartoon when we finally got an origin for him, but I enjoyed this more, and I enjoyed this much, much, much more than what we got from G.I. Joe Revenge of Cobra, whatever it was. The first G.I. Joe movie we had. But yeah, moving on from there, meeting up with Recondo in the jungle, as you guys have all said, that was neat. I like the way he blends into the background and his little friends out there. It's just great. Recondo's a great figure, a great character. So I loved him showing up with his companions, if you will. I love the fact that when the Joes are attacking the house, maybe it was just me, but it made you think it was the Fred's house that they were attacking, and then couldn't find out it's actually not. It's the doctor and Candy's house that they were actually attacking. So I thought that was a nice little twist on that. Was I the only one that thought that?
I still thought it was. I still thought it was the house. I don't really read these things.
I know. And we do have, real quick, I'm going to interrupt myself. We do have someone in the chat. We have Photo Viper saying, "Sup, guys? Hope you're all having a great Sunday."
Woo! Thanks for watching.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us. And finally, my last thought on this, because again, my last job I had, my nickname was Big Perv. I really do love Candy's outfit. Because again, as Shag would say, Candy is hot. Again, I'm a 51-year-old pervert talking about kids.
Her outfit is very, very 80s. It kind of gave me a Deborah
now
Foreman
there are
in
two.
Valley Girl. Yeah.
Now there are two 51-year-old perverts on this.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's my major thoughts. Like you guys have said, this is a great issue. Like I think we've all said, from about issue 21, maybe even earlier than that, up through, I think, at least 50, maybe a bit higher than that. Personally, I would go probably from late teens up through, I'd probably go into the 70s, actually, up through the Cobra Island War. I think those were all great issues. There was a few here and there that wasn't as great, but overall, they had a long continuing story arc, and for the most part, I enjoyed all of the main story arc. So that's my love period of G.I. Joe, the comic. Let me see real quick. Okay, any other thoughts on this issue before we move on?
Yeah, I got two things I wanted to bring up. First of all, regarding Recondo and Stalker, I don't know, who else would you want in the jungle situation backing you up? I think those two guys are really, really cool. I love seeing Stalker back in the jungle and stuff. But the other thing I wanted to mention too, what I liked about this issue, and it's something I've noticed in the last 5 years of G.I. Joe fandom and talking to people, that there's a real division now between what Snake Eyes people prefer. It's either the Ninja Snake Eyes or the Commando Snake Eyes. I like them both personally, but I like the fact that nothing makes me happier though than seeing Snake Eyes with an Uzi letting that clip ride, and we get Commando Snake Eyes in this, and I love it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love both versions of Snake Eyes. Personally, my only problem with Ninja Snake Eyes is that later in the run in the 100s, when ninjas were really popular, in my opinion, they took it too far. But it made him the star of the show, if you will. And he was I think his name was bigger on the cover than G.I. Joe itself was. That's my only real Ninja portion.
You could on your Facebook page, you should do a poll, see who prefers Ninja Snake Eyes to Commando Snake Eyes. I prefer Commando Snake Eyes for the reasons stated. while the ninjas are cool, they tend to kind of overwhelm everything. And when it becomes about all ninjas, you kind of lose the fact that this is supposedly a cartoon or a comic book about America's highly trained special missions force. So it should never really be tipped one way or the other, one way too far to the making Snake Eyes the star of the book, which they did, as you said, in the 30s, which I guess at that point you'll be rebranding this podcast. It'll be the Real American Headcast starring Snake Eyes and Ninja Force with an appearance by G.I. Joe, or...
Yeah, I'm not quite sure yet, but so any other thoughts on this issue?
Other than stated, no. Do we get to pick a cover?
We're
Do we
gonna
get
do
to
that
pick an
next.
issue page, or is that going to be later?
We're gonna do that right now.
We're going to do that next. Oh boy.
So now that
All
we've
right,
gone
I
through
got my
that,
choice.
let's go ahead and go to our next segment.
Whoa, hold on.
Sorry,
Brad, did you just fold that comic? Did you just like? What are you doing?
I did.
What are
It's
you
in good
doing? You
shape
don't
still.
handle a comic like that. What are you doing?
Depending on who
Now I'm
you
going to
ask.
sniff the newsprint.
Some people say that's exactly right.
God, it's like watching my mom destroy a paperback. Jesus.
You know, I can fold the cover over and read it like that too.
No, God. Oh, you're killing me.
All right, give me just
Let's
1
see.
minute, guys. I'm going to call the paramedics for Kevin.
Oh, there's a special four title offer in the back. Let me get my scissors out and I'll cut it out of the.
Why don't you just
And mail it
just
in.
bend the tabs over of where you last read? Why don't you just do that?
Well, that's how you're supposed to mark pages in a comic, though. You're supposed to fold them over. And
Jeez. Those are the issues I'm going to find in the used comic racks, I bet.
Dog hero.
It's gonna be like a Saw movie where they're torturing Kevin. He's like, "Do you want to read a comic?" And he has to watch Brad read comics, and that's his torture.
yeah.
Well, it's funny you guys
Yeah.
mentioned that
Oops.
years ago, back when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I was living with some friends, and we used to do like little home movies and sorts of things. And I had a bunch of old tore up comics. So one of the little skits we did was Aaron's Nightmare, where I wake up and my friends are all in my room and they're all tearing my comics up in front of me. Like, no. But anyways, enough about tearing comics up and mutilating them. Everyone say goodbye to Brad. Say goodbye to Brad. This is his last episode since he does not handle it properly.
I can read my comics the way I want to read
You
them.
need to handle a comic like
I
the
can
old
handle it.
with loving
Bend
hands.
it back
gentle
over.
caresses.
Yeah.
Though maybe some people do handle their woman like a comic and tear and bold and fold them and mutilate. That's another story entirely. So Brad, we're going to go to the Real American Hero. Who is your Real American Hero? Your favorite Cobra or Joe in this issue, or even a non-Joe Cobra that you think stands out that deserves special recognition?
I think it's gotta be Storm Shadow. He makes the big heel turn, I guess if that's what you would call it, in this issue, which is an act that has ramifications that run through the comic to this day, really. It's a big moment. It was a big moment at the time, and looking at it now in the context of the overall series is a big moment right now where it's him and Billy on the run from Cobra. So that was a bold move on his part, the type of move that a ninja can get away with as long as he commits all the way and actually leaves with Billy rather than staying behind to cause a diversion.
And okay, very good. And Jared, who's your Real American Hero?
Well, I was going to pick Storm Shadows as well, but I don't want to repeat, so I'll go to my second choice, which is going to be Junkyard. He took care of that grenade quickly, and I'll just let that sink in. And yes, that was a pun.
Kevin, do you have a Real American Hero for this issue?
Yeah, the Tucaro on the left that is also a jokester and says, and sneaking up on people, we good at that too. And then they all laugh, and then it shows the guys just kind of look. The Joe's kind of going, "Yeah, you got us." No, those are my. He's actually my my runner up, but I'm going to give it to both. What is it, Duke and Cover Girl going in at the front door wearing Flash's weird vests that are bulletproof, I guess, and then both getting shot and living. Not afraid to take point. You got to give it to them.
Yeah, no, that's very good. And my real American hero of this issue is going to be Billy. I do like the fact that he's still defiant to his father. He's not willing to give up his co-conspirators. He's doing everything in his powers, if you will, to avoid letting Cobra Commander know who was trying to kill him, basically. So I think Billy did a great job, and we'll see more of Billy. But those were all great choices. And also, just to let you know, I have taken I think was it Brad or Kevin, whoever said, I went and had a poll up on the Facebook group about which version of Snake Eyes do you prefer, the Commander or the Ninja. So that's up on the Facebook page. Go and check that out. But while you're doing that, let's go ahead and move on to the next section, which is our favorite page of artwork. So again, this is just one page of art. If you could have any one page of art in here to hang on your wall or to put in your safe or whatever you want to do with it, which page would you take? This time, I'm going to start out this time. That way I don't have to pick my fourth or fifth or sixth runner up. And I had a couple lined up, but I'm going to go for the first one of page 6, the first flashback to Cobra's origins. Again, I do love when we get flashbacks and we see some of people's life before they became where they are now. So I do like seeing kind of the origins. And again, it's either 6 or 7. I mean, both are very nice. But
Okay, so it's not the free Oreo tumbler ad?
No,
okay.
Story page, not consecutive page. Correct. Sorry about that. Yes. No, see, I'm looking without ads. So it's with Billy in the brainwave scanner, and we see him looking through, and someone approaches him, and he blocks it out, and then we see Cobra Commander, but he's in shadow, so we can't see what he looks like, holding out the giant dome or globe with the snake wrapped around it. I thought that was very nice.
I like the other one where it's like next year, by this time, I promise everybody will have your own uniform. Meantime, everyone's just wearing bandanas around their mouth.
I like that one too. I had a couple runners, that being one of them. But Kevin, since you're talking, keep talking. Which one?
Okay. I'm going to choose. My favorite is when you see Mutt and Snake Eyes and Junkyard charge in, firing their weapons, and above at the top you see Blowtorch just lighting up the place with flames. Oh. I really like that one, and the fact you get Junkyard going woof woof. That one's my favorite. I like that one.
And Jared, do you have a favorite page in this?
I do. I'm going to take the ultimate cheater move and take page 1, the initial splash page with the all the Cobras sitting there. I still love Firefly's genuine disinterest.
That's a good one.
So, yeah, it's just got all your favorite villains there, and it's got Billy sort of on trial and the flag, and yeah, I really like its layout. So I'm going page 1.
That was a second runner up for me. So yes, that's very nice. And Brad, look at the big brain on Brad.
I would go with, I think this issue does not have page numbers on it.
No.
I think it's page 12. It would be the one of
it's the one you've creased in half. That's
yes.
The one.
There it is. Let me unfold the page and see. It's the one with Recondo facing.
Is that a coupon you've clipped out there too? What is that?
No, I just rip the pages out though. It's the one of Recondo facing off against the other Joes before they know who he is, and the Takaro's kind of popping up behind them. It's well illustrated the way the shadow falls on Recondo's face from his Tilly hat. You don't see his eyes, so you're not quite sure what his intent is. But it's just well blocked, well illustrated. The grass, the cross hatching on the grass and everything. It's just a very evocative image that I think that sort of shows how much great visual storytelling there is in this book.
Very nice. Yeah, those are all great choices. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make a bad choice, I think, in this issue because there was a lot of great pages to choose from. And I like it. I prefer it like that when it's hard to choose one than some of these issues we had. Well, I guess I'll settle for this one. Not quite as good, but I got to pick something. So, anyways, I guess we're about done with the comic unless anyone has any other thoughts I haven't mentioned yet.
I have a really cool Recondo costume that I wear for the G.I. Joe Finest that I like. It's the Tiger Force one where he has that really cool curved weapon. Very cool.
Very
Proud of
nice.
that one.
Yeah,
I was just wondering if anybody can identify the types of birds that are flying behind Recondo and Brad's page. I suspect they're egrets, but I don't know. I mean, egrets, I've had a few.
I've had a lot. But anyways, that's not entirely.
Took a long walk for that one, didn't we, boys?
You were waiting the
3 days
entire
ago, Brad.
episode just to make that joke. You've been thinking for a long time.
He was planning that 6 months ago. I could tell.
When we were supposed to record this. He's sitting at home the last 6 months. Come on, Aaron, let's record. I want to make that joke. Come on, I'm waiting to make that joke.
My moment has come. That's it for me. Thanks, everybody.
Sorry I delayed you. Now we can let Jared go, and Brad can be our resident artist. And I hope you know something about the military, Brad, because you're going to have to fill in for Jared's footsteps all the way around.
I've seen Red Dawn 17 times. I think
That's all you need, Brad. That's all you need.
Good enough for me. We don't need experts on this show. Just someone that's been on Facebook and someone that thinks they know what they're doing. But anyways, I guess I'm going to do it for this issue. Let's go and take a quick break. I'm going to refill my water, and we'll be right back with the cartoon. All right, back, guys. I need to get some water real quick.
Oh, Jared's got his notes ready.
By the way, we need to let Aaron know that he misspelled ninja. It says ninga.
Oh, Chinese ninja boy.
Ninga.
Oh, goodness.
G.I. Joe, real American ninja.
Oh, that.
Ninja Force.
Ninja Force.
Hey, Aaron, did you want me to vote for Commando or Ninga?
Did I miss
Don't mock his misspellings.
Oh, thank you for for
So good.
yes, vote for Ninga.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
That's funny you guys mentioned that because I haven't gone to see Snake Eyes yet. My brother did. And he said he liked it okay, but he said one of his kind of complaints was there was no Commando. It was all Ninja. And I was like, well, I haven't seen it yet, but as I understand, is it before he joined the Joe Squad? So that maybe before his military days? I don't know.
Well, I need to talk about that, but
okay, I didn't mean to wind you up. We can leave it. I haven't seen it, so I cannot weigh in.
I don't know how to edit this.
I'm certain we could do a Bravo team movie review on it at some point when we've all seen it.
So let's do this then. Wait.
Am I the only one here who hasn't seen it? Okay.
I've seen it.
That's how it's going to be. I got it.
There. Oh, sorry, I was correcting my mistyping spello thing that you're making it ninja instead of ninga because nigga sounds too close to something else. Oh, sorry.
I don't know why I'm laughing because I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Which comedian said that? Anyways, probably Eddie Murphy. Okay, so there. Now I have it correct. And I've already gotten 3 votes on it. I've gotten 3 votes for Commando.
So I like him to have no underwear on.
Ranger Corps Lord and Rifle. And then Mike Siebert said the Ninja Commando. He's an 85 guy. That outfit is the best combination of the two.
That's pretty fair. I would say the second version of Naked Snake Eyes. That's the one I like. No, the second version of Snake Eyes is the best.
Is that the one with Timber?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's my favorite one.
Yep.
In fact, let me add a third option on there, Ninja Commando.
And then the one where he's got no underwear.
There, I've added a third option, Ninja Commando. Not Ninja Commando, but Ninja Commando. Both worlds. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on with the actual show. Find my spot. There we are. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Need to get some drinks or head to the little Joe room or anything? Okay, let's go ahead and continue then. And welcome back. Now we're here to watch. Insert the promo for the cartoon. This is episode 25, Where the Reptiles Roam, written by Carla and Gerry Conway. Gerry Conway was a favorite of mine since he did create Firestorm, one of my two favorite characters, but that's another story entirely. This first aired October the 18th of 1985. The synopsis, I pulled this from Wikipedia because my synopsis tend to be running too long at times. Wild Bill and a few Joes head out to a farm in Texas to investigate a dude ranch Cobra captured near the solar. Try that again. That's how much right in English. Wild Bill and a few Joes head to a farm in Texas to investigate a dude ranch Cobra captured near the solar panels in order to control a nearby power station. Quick and dirty. Let's get some thoughts on this actual episode. Let's go ahead and start in the middle. Brad. I hear paper rustling in the background. I wonder if it's paper rustling. Oh, everyone's rustling. Let me rustle mine. Take my computer up a little bit there.
I will have to say, I'm getting this distinct impression that Jared would like to go first. He seems, I don't know what it is. Something that's just making me go, I think Jared
he lets
wants
me
to
go
say
first.
something.
He lets me go first all the time. It's only fair that somebody else should get to go.
But we noticed that Kevin there is treating his notes much like Brad treats his comics. Rustling them, folding them, eating them. So, Brad, let's go ahead and let's make Jared wait a little bit. Just as long as
all right. It's interesting that you pointed that Gerry Conway wrote this one, because the fact that this episode centered around a dude ranch reminded me that I think everything I ever learned about dude ranching, I learned from Saturday morning and weekday afternoon cartoons. Like to the point where I wondered if there was this one really prolific TV writer, cartoon
City
writer.
Suckers.
Yeah, who just grew up on a dude ranch or had a life-changing experience on a dude ranch that compelled him to share the experience far and wide. Because I've never been to a dude ranch. I don't know anybody who's ever done time on a dude ranch, but they just seem to be everywhere on cartoons. So I guess it was only a matter of time before G.I. Joe visited the dude ranch, and I can't verify whether or not the Transformers did one episode involving a dude ranch. It seems like the type of thing you would see, but anyway.
real quick, let me interject. Based on my 80s observations of quicksand, I'm beginning to wonder if dude ranches actually existed. But anyways, carry on.
Well, this is again a deeply silly episode, but it's fun, and I think part of that's because Wild Bill gets to be central to this story. He's actually one of my favorite characters in the cartoon and in the comic. His characterization in the comic is less broad than it is here with all the yeehaws and the yahoos. But he's all there in your face because the Joe team needs a resident cowboy, and he happens to be it. I do question some of the logic of what Cobra is trying to accomplish. A world terrorist organization focusing on a dude ranch somewhere in the Southwest. I guess it made sense to them at the time. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me now. But we do get to see the Baroness in a rancher's outfit, and I'm sure many a young boy in 1985 felt something stirring seeing her in that outfit. I'm quite certain. Not me though. That
121.
Now that my stirrings were saved for Wilma Deering on reruns of Buck Rogers.
Can't go wrong there.
No, but it's I struggle to think of things to say about this episode because it's kind of boilerplate in a lot of ways. There's no real huge surprises or anything. It kind of plays out the way you'd expect it to. It actually reminds me a lot of the one from several episodes back where it was Roadblock and his relatives who had the restaurant or the diner or whatever it was that was being attacked by Cobra. Red Rocket's glare. So it seemed like a little bit of that. So whether they're trying to humanize the Joes and sort of show them having a world and family outside the world of the comic, which outside the world of the cartoon rather, but which is something you didn't really see outside the comic. But again, I think the strength of the show, the one advantage that the show has over the comic is just by virtue of the fact that there's so many episodes. Every character gets at least one episode where they're sort of central to the story, which doesn't really happen in the comic. And the comic tends to sort of focus on a core group of characters with the occasional breakout character like Ripcord in the current run of the comic that we're covering. But, if you're a fan of Wild Bill, then I think you're probably going to find a lot to like about this episode.
Yes. And Kevin, again, I'm delaying Jared as long as possible.
You guys brought up Gerry Conway. I'm assuming he co-wrote this with his significant other. But some of the other highlights that I found out was that he created the Punisher for Marvel Comics in 1972. He also wrote Conan the Destroyer in 1984, and that Spider-Man, the night Gwen Stacy died, famous comic there.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of Spider-Man back at that time frame.
Yeah. I love how these cartoons, these G.I. Joe cartoons, just put together the weirdest Joes. Bazooka, Alpine, Snake Eyes, Timber, and Breaker. I love that combination. I think it's fun. The one Cobra Trooper, voiced by Peter Cullen. Correction, we've got you. Cobra, roll out.
Take mine off my list now.
Yeah, mark that. I got some more for you to mark off there, buddy. Here we go. Did you guys notice that Scarlet was driving the Wolverine, not Cover Girl?
That's the next one on my list.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Get that one.
Anyone also noticed the nerdy computer chick with the floppy disk? Who was that, Joe? She's kind of hot. Just saying. And then outside, Snake Eyes was petting Timber. We don't see that very often. He's just like he's a dog. He's tired. And Snake Eyes just crashed down, just petting Timber, giving him some little pets, some little loves. I love that. He's great. And I love that this was a Wild Bill episode. I loved Wild Bill. I just wish he could take off his hat on the action figure. But he had one of the coolest vehicles, the Dragonfly copter, which is great. Mm-hmm. And he was very excited to be traveling back home to West Texas. I've driven through West Texas. Unless you're from there, just saying. Gosh.
My dad used to say it's the only area of the country where you could fall asleep at the wheel for about 3-4 hours, wake up, still good. You haven't done anything.
Pretty much. I've been through Odessa. Yeah. Gosh. Okay. So I had to look this up. The El Loco Toro Dude Ranch that's in this. I had to look it up just out of curiosity. Didn't find an El Loco Toro Dude Ranch online, but I did find an El Toro Loco is a Mexican food place in Griffin, Georgia, and also is the name of a monster truck. By the way, I did not remember this episode at all, but when I saw the hot Mary Bell, I'm like, that's got to be the Baroness. Called it. Best quote, Lady J. That Texas tease, call me Mary Bell. Jezebel is more like it.
I have something about that in my notes too.
Cobra Commander, Zartan, and the Dragnauts. Destro wants to control the solar, the solar satellite microwave beams, and wants $1 billion in gold bullion. And got to give it up to Bazooka. Successfully rode a charging bull. If you're on there for more than 5 seconds, that's a success. That's what I've been told.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Mud Patch the horse gets a call out there. Lady J, undercover Cobra, hot. I want that action figure. Question for the panel: who had the best mustache? Seems like everyone that was male had a mustache. I'm going to give it to Wild Bill.
Of course.
Wild Bill takes out Baroness. Okay, now this is a weird scene when you see Zartan coming up. You kind of see like Wild Bill crouched down in the shadow. You don't know really kind of what's going on. It just looks kind of weird, and then you realize he's taking her out, but they don't actually show it. So, did you guys notice the Cobra Televiper was the cameraman? Thought that was pretty cool. Oh man, bad day for Golden Gate Bridge, man. Goes down.
Oof.
Gosh, yeah.
That's gonna be hard to replace.
And one of my favorites about these cartoons is the Green Grunt Joe's return.
Mm-hmm. Green shirts.
Yes, we need some of those action figures. Otherwise, you just got to buy a bunch of grunts, I guess. There you go.
Yes.
Wild Bill to the rescue with the stampede of the cattle, and Destro says, "What a crude form of weaponry." And in one of my favorite moments of this episode, and that's why I'm holding up the toy, is that Baroness escapes in a trouble bubble that was inside an outhouse.
That is a fact.
And of course, Cobra Commander says, "Foiled by a cattle stampede! Foiled by a cattle stampede! I'll be back!"
Great. I love your impersonation.
Well
That's a
done.
great job.
And then Wild Bill says it at the end, we grow our peaches sassy. And I'm out.
Speaking of being out, Jared,
All right.
from earlier in the episode, it seemed like you may have had notes or something.
I had some notes. We'll
much
play a
did I
game
whittle
called
down?
How Many Notes Did Kevin and I Have That Were the Same? Start my timer.
And
Here we go. All right. The first thing I wrote was Gerry Conway, exclamation point. Like, holy crap, Gerry Conway. My second note, why in the world would you bring Bazooka on a stealth mission? That was a bad choice, I think, on that.
But dude,
Anyway.
he lit stuff up with his bazooka, man. He was busy.
what he does.
That's what it does. I have a really clever note here that says that random Cobra Trooper sounds an awful lot like Optimus Prime. My next note says Scarlet's in the Wolverine and Cover Girl's on the Ram. What's going on here? That's 2. My next note says Wild Bill is very enthusiastic about heading back to Texas. That's 3. My next one says Lady J as a cowgirl, kind of hot. I think that's 4. Loco Toro, I translated that for you guys because that means crazy bull. And then it's interesting that Kevin found it as a Toro Loco because it is much more of a Hispanic thing to put the adjectives after the nouns. It's more of an English thing to switch them. So thus the confusion. I put catty Lady J is my favorite kind of Lady J, when you get all catty about Jezebel and all that. I like this one here. I said I like the part where the Dreadnoks took their masks off and still looked a lot like cowboys. I'm like, I think you wasted money on masks because you guys all still look like cowboys. Zartan's Burt Reynolds impression is spot on. I thought he looked just like Burt Reynolds in his getup. The lovable old Jobs were Cobra all along. Sad face. The lovable old couple. Come on, man. This was one of my very, very favorite catches. You're gonna have to go back and watch it, but trust me when I tell you, Destro's metallic gloves have fingernails. That's weird. Trust me, it's there. You'll see it. It's when he's holding up like microchip or something. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yes.
I think we've all mentioned this. Mary Bell takes off her disguise and gets hotter.
How it happens, I don't know, but yes.
Yes. I'm starting to think the writers of Die Another Day saw this episode because it was the exact same laser down from space thing that they did in Die Another Day. Here's another interesting mistake, continuity error. When Destro first starts to escape, he's in an Awestriker. But in the next scene, it's a Stinger. It's a Cobra Stinger. So like when he first drives out of that barn, when like the Stampede's coming and all hell's breaking loose, he's in an Awestriker, which makes sense. So I was like, where did he get an Awestriker?
I'll rewatch that.
But in the next scene, it's a Cobra Stinger. And then and tying into what Kevin said at the end when she escapes, she goes in the outhouse and it starts to like seriously rumble. I put for a second there, it looked like Baroness had some serious poop problems, but it ended up being a trouble bubble, which is a good, I think, code name for if you have poop problems. I got a real trouble bubble going on over there. That's all I got.
Real quick, you know how Zartan's supposed to be this master of disguise? Can we just give it to the Baroness instead? I mean, come on. And still manages to stay hot in costume.
Yeah. Anytime you meet a good-looking female, if you're not sure if she's good or bad, it's always the Baroness. If you're pretty sure she's good, it's always Scarlet. It's one of the two of them in disguise every time. Or Lady J in this case. Lady J got some time.
Yes. Well, I'm going to read my notes again. I don't have any paper. I've got it on my computer because I'm lazy like that. And
nerd.
Shake your computer around.
I did that earlier. I'm afraid of shaking too much, and you guys may fall out of my camera side on my computer or whatever. I'm afraid of shaking too much. But again, one thing I don't like about going last is I like to let you guys go first since you guys are my guests, but you guys cover everything almost. But again, much like Jared, I'm going to read my list anyways, and some of these may be duplicates. I may have some new ones on here. My first one, why does Bazooka have the backseat to himself while everyone else is crowded into the front?
Nobody wants to sit next to
Plenty
this
of room back
clumsy
there.
ass.
Meanwhile, everyone else is like crowded into the front. Bazooka's that bad to sit by. My next note, Mary Bell, to quote Shag, is hot. I love Bazooka taking the bull down. My next note on here is 3 guesses as to who Mary Bell is. As you guys said, at this point, if the female's acting suspicious, probably the Baroness. Wild Bill is at home. You guys have made that comment. Bazooka, a man, a few words. Dark. Trouble. I love the glow of the chip. Again, Cobra, they have a model of a city they can destroy just for purposes, just for visual demonstration.
I apologize for the crudity of this model. It's not to scale.
Just going to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that was great. Again, my next note here is Baroness. Yes, she's hot. Again, I owe Shag another 50 cents because I think he's trademarked that phrase. But moving on, there goes the Golden Gate Bridge. Next comment I have, which actually I think I've got a question, but I think both Jared and Kevin have already answered this one. Why didn't they fill up the Wolverine's missiles before they left? My original thought was, I guess it didn't matter, but as you guys pointed out, since someone else was driving besides CoverGirl, just didn't think of it. It's not their job.
Was Bazooka trying to do his impression of Tripwire when he tripped that one time?
Probably.
I think they're both clumsy. Again, don't bring him on a stealth mission. Yeah. Don't bring either one of them on a stealth mission.
My next comment here is Ace flew into that laser. So much for being a hotshot pilot. Again, I'm not a pilot, so I'm sure I would have done the same, but I'm not. My nickname's not Ace. I'll just put it that. Can't pinpoint small target. Just blast another trench where the Joes are running to, you know. And as you guys have all said, Wild Bill to the rescue. And my final comment is you guys have already made. I was wondering why the hell the Baroness was running to that house when she had to get away. But then I see she's in trouble bubble. Hell yes. Followed by the rest of the Cobras. You can never go wrong with a trouble bubble and adding Baroness to the mix. As I said earlier, there's no problem with that. Thank you. Yes, Kevin holding up the trouble bubble with the Baroness in it. Thank you very much for that. I love you some trouble bubble. So yeah, the trouble bubble will be in the outhouse. That's very good. And again, like I'm gonna have to follow Jared's advice. And from now on, when I run to the restroom, where are you going? Oh, trouble bubble.
I got trouble bubble brewing right here.
I'm gonna bring that one into the toilet. There we go.
I'm gonna bring that. Never mind. That's another story entirely. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Do you guys have any other thoughts for this episode? Let's go ahead and move on quickly.
You gotta keep a trouble bubble in your outhouse in case the shit goes down. I'm sorry, it just took us to PG-13.
Any other thoughts, gentlemen? Jared, any other thoughts on this issue? Or...
No, I think I've said enough. I think I've said enough.
Yes, you have. Brad, any other thoughts on this episode of the cartoon?
Oh boy, you know, I'm still thinking about the trouble bubble. And if the trouble bubble would be just going to the bathroom, or the trouble bubble is, I think I have to go to the bathroom. I'm not sure if I have to go to the bathroom, but I better go because it could be a trouble bubble and I could end up with some dirty drawers. So that's my takeaway from this issue now, or this episode now and forever.
Right. Kevin,
I didn't realize like how legendary Gerry Conway is with his credits, and I was just looking at his IMDb stuff here. You know, I mean, he's done episodic television, both cartoon and live action, and he's been busy up until now. I mean, he did Black Spider: The Origins of Eric Needham. He did The Young Justice. He did Harley Quinn TV series, The Punisher TV series. I mean, he has just been busy. This guy's a legend, right, guys? I guess
100%.
He is. I'm actually looking at his IMDb or his Wikipedia page right now, and he started scripting Amazing Spider-Man at age 19.
Yes,
amazing,
which is amazing to me
and spectacular.
Yeah,
some would say web of, but that's another story entirely. But yeah, no, Gerry Conway, I love him. He's fantastic. Yeah, he did a lot of Spider-Man, and that's kind of why I think Firestorm was written the way he was as a young teenager, also the professor, but he was kind of DC's Spider-Man. I think a lot of that came from Gerry being a Spider-Man writer, coming on and creating Firestorm. I know he took some of the same type of characters and used them in both books. Then, like you said, a lot of TV.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm looking at it now. If you've ever seen an animated movie from the early 80s by Ralph Bakshi called Fire and Ice, that was written by Gerry Conway, along with Roy Thomas.
Wow.
Actually.
I just want to mention too that your listeners, but you can't see this, but your viewers can. That Brad is wearing a Boston hat, and he's halfway to a Cutter costume right now. I just want to say.
Yeah, I have not shaved in some time, so I was going to do it last night, but I'm like, I'm going to be podcasting.
Just need to get that life preserver on, and you're good to go.
yeah, I think so. If I ever make it to a Joe Con, all I have to do is just get a life preserver and just go as is.
Yep. Good to go. Well, I guess that's going to do it for this episode of the cartoon. Let's go and take another quick break. I'll come back with Postbox the Pit and all that good stuff, and then we'll bring these guys back and get some final thoughts. Okay, and then I'll insert Postbox the Pit and all that good stuff. I didn't get time to do that yet. Then I'll bring you guys back. And here comes the guys back from their break. So, gentlemen, again, thank you very much for joining me this episode, as always. Before I give you any final thoughts or anything, do you guys have any other thoughts on this episode or the issue, anything we've talked about today? Besides, Gerry Conway's a fantastic creator and very prolific. And I don't know how to spell sometimes. But do you guys have any other thoughts?
Just on the comic issue, just love it. Great issue, visually great. Good development in, I would say, the continuous arc of, I would say, the best run of the Marvel series is going through right now. I think with the original run here, and I love the whole Billy and Snake Eyes plot going on through this, and I didn't remember this episode. I'm sure I've seen it, but I did not remember the TV episode. But it was fun to watch.
Very good. Jared, you have any other thoughts or anything you want to throw out there?
No, it was fun as always. We always do that thing where we kind of laugh at the cartoon, but it's always a pleasurable experience, and it's fun to revisit these things.
Oh yeah. And Brad, any final thoughts?
Yeah. After I finished rereading 38, I had to go dig through the long box and pull out 39 and read that too, because I remember that being a really fun issue as well. And I would hold it out to the camera, but right now I have it folded in half, and it's balancing a table leg.
As Kevin grimaces in the back.
And we just killed Kevin. Yeah,
this is how you properly hold a comic, like this. I should be wearing gloves, but come on. This is how you do it, like this, okay? You support the spine underneath with your hand. You keep one thumb way out like this, and you do not let this page drop below the spine. Come on.
You're going to say drop below the horizon. Like
killing me here.
Well, see, being the 21st century, I read everything digitally. Once, I don't mess my books up. For another, I'm getting old, and these eyes can't read a comic very well. So I read on my computer, so I can blow it up bigger and actually read the words better and look when the Baroness is looking hot. I mean,
I'm actually ashamed to say that in some cases, if I'm reading a paper comic book and I'm having trouble making out the art in the panel, I actually instinctively try and pinch zoom it to kind of get it to go bigger, and then go, oh, right, it's not digital, it's print. I can't do that, and I'm getting old.
I did want to mention that I always like to look at the Postbox the Pit comments from the readers, and they all seem to be commenting on issue 34, which was the great issue with the Ace going up against the Rattler and Scrap Iron and not Scrap Iron. I'm sorry. Who's the Cobra pilot from that one? Help me out here. Who's the Cobra pilot for that?
Wild Weasel.
Thank you, Wild Weasel. And this was when people were starting like asking if they get the no prize for like, noticing stuff. That was kind of became a thread in the post office box, the pit. And they also stopped putting the actual complete addresses from fans and just listing the city and state they were in. Brad doesn't have that page in his comment because he tore it out for toilet paper, apparently, for the outhouse where his trouble bubble is.
Yeah,
the trouble bubble.
I was having a trouble bubble, and I didn't have any other paper handy, so I had to use it. It's here.
Are we? In the letter column, there is one of the letters from a Brett Young in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He asked some questions. He had a no prize question, basically about the Rattlers cockpit. But his second question was, will there be a Joe named Flint? If so, will there be a figure for him?
What's funny is the Pennsylvania, I think it's pronounced Lancaster, where in California, ours is pronounced Lancaster.
But see, California's right, so I'm pronouncing
it's
it
true,
Lancaster.
Yes.
But and also there's another one here from someone named Steven. I'm gonna read that letter. Sorry, my son just walked out. There is a letter here from someone named Steven. I'm gonna read that letter. Dear G.I. Joe, I like your vehicles. I hate Cobra. I like Duke. I don't like Cobra Commander. He is a stinko. Go Joe. It was a nice little letter. And someone else, Brian Liddicoat from Watsonville, California. Even though he's from Watsonville, I guess I'll still read his letter. That's where my ex-wife was from, Watsonville. So we have a very hate relationship with Watsonville. But that's another story entirely. One of his things was, which I think is interesting. He said, also, could we please find out how Cobra is funded? They don't remark on that. He was also complaining about the romances, and that's what they chose to address. But I think finding out more about Cobra's finances and how they get funded would have been an interesting issue. And another, since we got on the letters, there's one from Larry Gunther in Georgia. He said that he wants all the Joes really wants to know who killed the Hardmaster. I love mysteries. It's gone long enough. And so their response is, do you really want to know who killed the Hardmaster? You might not like the answer. Again, which is leading all up to the storylines we're going through right now. So, but yeah, it was a great issue. I thank you guys once again for all being on here. If someone is silly enough to want to hear more from you guys, Jared, if someone wants to hear more from you, I don't know why they would. I'm trying to hear less, but where would they go to hear more from you guys?
Well, I would obviously point them to the Longbox Crusade Network. That's the best place to find me. There or at the On Her Majesty's Secret Podcast Network. Longbox Crusade for things like comic books, TV shows, stuff like that. And then over at On Her Majesty's Secret Podcast for James Bond content. You can check me out on social media at Yard Sale Artist, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It's all at Yard Sale Artist, or check out my webpage for my art, which is theyardsaleartist.com.
Next up, I clicked a little early. Brad Abraham. If someone wants to hear more about you, where can they go?
If they want to hear more about me, that is, you can go to bradabraham.com, which is my website. I don't really do social media or all the other popular stuff that the internet kids are into these days. It's just me. It's my website. I try and update it regularly, maybe once a month or so. So if you want to pop over there, you can check that out. And you can also check out my book, Magicians Impossible, which is still in stores everywhere. And I'm working on new stuff. It's just that the last few years I've been taking over with being sort of a stay-at-home dad, raising my youngin' who just started his school. So now I have a bit more time to get back into writing. And I just wanted to add to the listeners in listener land that you should definitely hit up Jared's website and look at some of his art. I was proud to purchase an original Zartan illustrated picture today. He is that good. And you know, as longtime listeners of this podcast, I'm not a big Zart fan, but I am a fan of Jared's work.
Thank you, sir.
And finally, Mr. Kevin Reitzel, aka Raider Nerd. If people want to hear more from you or about you, where do they go?
I'm the co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network, where we have several podcasts on there. Star Wars, Star Trek, Highlander, True Believers, which is our Marvel MCU podcast. We've got a bunch of other fun podcasts on there as well as Doctor Who. And so make sure you check that out. We're on all podcast catchers, or you can go to our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. You can also find me on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix, or you can find me on Facebook, unlike some other people I know on this panel.
Hello, Brad. Oh. See, I know why Brad doesn't like media, social media, Facebook, and all that. He's afraid the twins actually started it, and so he's trying to boycott it just on that reason.
Yeah, that's true. Dirty secrets out at last.
By the way, real quick shout out there. I love your action film face off there, Jared.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'm sure Jason the Weasel Skull Albrecht appreciates it as well. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I love all your guys' shows. You guys all do great shows. Brad is a great writer. I really enjoyed Magicians Impossible. I can't say it, but I can read it and recommend anyone that if you like a good book, definitely go out and buy it and read it. It's great.
Yes, do that.
But I guess that's going to do it with you guys. Again, you catch me on my shows. I know I've been in a bit of a hiatus due to life. Like I said, my middle son, he's 28. He just moved home with his girlfriend and her 3 kids. So things been a little bit of upheaval around here, plus my own issues. But I'm working on getting things back on track. I'm going to start doing this on the, in quotes, the last Sunday of the month, or the 4th Sunday of the month. Sorry, the 4th Sunday of the month. This week I had to move it ahead because next week is my anniversary, and the wife is talking to go to a Renaissance fair. So I'll be out of town that weekend. Normally I refer to them as gay festivals, but I'm going to go check it out. And next month, thanks to Jared reminding me, I guess the 4th Sunday is actually Halloween. And I'm sure those with families, and I know I'll be busy that day. So we'll be doing it the 3rd Sunday of the month. So mark your calendars. And as long as nothing comes up, and I'll let you guys know, I'll be posting on Facebook. I'm trying to get back on the social media better like I should be. But definitely check out all my shows at theheadcastnetwork.com. You can check out my Facebook group. I have my Headcast Network Facebook page and the one for this very show here, G.I. Joe Real American Headcast. It's at facebook.com/groups/G.I. Joe. Check us out over on YouTube. Again, I plan on streaming these every month, and I'm going to be streaming some other shows when I record them. So, and I may be showing up on someone else's show next month. I got to invite the mysterious thing, messaging or whatever, and hey, watch for that in the coming future. But I guess that's going to do it for this episode. Once again, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today, and I look forward to talking to you guys next month. Again, I need to pen in the calendar when we're going to do 43. So I make sure Kevin's busy that. Maybe I'll do it when the Raider game's playing. But gentlemen, thank you for joining me, and you guys have a very nice day.
See, Brad, this is how you put your comic back in the bag, Brad, just like this.
A bag?
And then
you put your comics in bags?
Yeah, and if you have two issues of it, like I do, you put one backwards and then one in front of it like that, so the spines don't actually touch. That's how you do it.
Bags.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes. And then there's like a hard piece of cardboard that you use to support them so they don't bend.
Like
cardboard?
Yeah, just get the books, and then you don't have to go hunting down your loose copies.
Hey there, Aaron.
Cardboard.
I love the schedule on Sundays, except for one thing. During football season, if maybe you can adjust the start time. I'd be more than willing to come on.
What time would be better for you, sir?
It depends on what day it is. If it's a Raider home game, it starts at 1 p.m. So I could do it after that, like at 4:30 or 5 our time. Today worked out because it was an away game, so it was a 10 a.m. start for me, and I was able to start around 1. So just check with me a little bit because, you know.
No problem. I'll find out what day the SU-43 is, and I'll make sure same. No.
And that's with the sports ball guys, where people like battle for the ball and they go back and forth.
So is that the little one they hit with a bat, or is that on all these sports things? Computer comic books I can do, but yeah, when you start talking sports, I know they're out there. I've heard of them.
Okay. The Baroness is going to go tinkle.
Okay. Real quick before you guys leave, can I get you guys to give me a Yo Joe?
Count us down.
You can start with Jared.
Yo, Joe.
Brad.
Yo, Joe.
And Kevin.
Yo, Joe!
Wins the enthusiasm award.
Suck it.
Yo Joe. Thank you guys very much. And yeah, so next month I'm planning on losing my phone. Trying here somewhere. Forgot what day it was on. Oops, let me see. So next month I'm looking at. Actually, no, the fourth Sunday is actually on the 24th.
24th.
Yeah, there's 5 Sundays next month. So actually, it'll probably be the 24th. So, Kevin, if you can check and see what kind of game that's going to be.
Did you say the 24th?
The 24th.
Mm-hmm.
The 24th is on a Wednesday.
Of October.
October 21st. October the 24th is on a Wednesday.
Oh,
No.
I'm sorry. October. You
No,
said. Okay,
no.
my bad. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, that's a 1:05 p.m. start for the game on October 24th. So if I could shoot, if you guys can, 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, is that possible?
Or would it be better earlier in the day?
Yeah.
Game starts at 1, so like,
I usually, but only problem is I work on Sunday mornings.
never
So
mind. So
yeah.
can you guys do 5 o'clock Pacific time next time?
October 24th.
I should be able to.
Yeah.
Let me know for a
Sunday,
solid
I can
maybe.
probably do that.
Solid maybe for Jared. Okay, well, let me know.
Yeah, if I can't make it, y'all just go. I mean, that's how we do it at Long Box. People who can make it, and those who don't, don't. No one gets their feelings hurt.
Well, I'm trying to hurt your feelings. No. Thank you. I guess I can end this broadcast also. And broadcast.